Welcome back to Better Than Before. Tony Richards here, and there's an Accenture study that came out, in-depth interviews with over 200 top executives, and a lot of brain science in this particular study. And you know, here at Clear Vision Development Group, we do a lot of brain research. We read a lot of neuroscience. We use neuroscience to help our clients, both in coaching and in people development and in brand development and advertising. In this study, there was a very surprising conclusion that came out. 89% of C-suite executives were educated in business, finance, science, or technology, and they have well-honed left brain analytical skills. But a majority, 65%, admit weakness in right brain skills, which would be creativity, empathy, intuition, openness to external environments, successfully managing change. And we know that this is true because creativity and empathy both, they are part of 25 skills that we are constantly measuring in executives and performers, and they're always at the bottom. Creativity's at the bottom, empathy's at the bottom, almost always, sometimes even a 0.0 on a scale of 1 to 10. This study just sort of validates that as well. So we know that when executives have to successfully pivot or they have to make a transition of some kind, especially in change management, that requires a whole brain approach, both left and right brain thinking, which requires reshaping and retraining a lot of executives. And that's where we come in. We get hired a lot of times to come in during times of heavy change to help the organization get through it. And those change initiatives typically take somewhere between 5 and 7 years. I used to say 3 to 5, but now I've decided it's 5 to 7 because you don't want to throw the organization into trauma and chaos by trying to move too fast. The business landscape is littered with examples of executives try to do that. This research validates a lot of what we've been saying for a long time, that you can't just go into a change initiative and you can't just manage day to day from the left side of the brain. You also need the right side. So you can't just have hard skills like finance or science or technology. You also have to have soft skills like empathy, intuition, and trust building skills and things of that nature. Here's some percentages. And so for the whole brain skills, they measured about 15 different skill sets in this study. Everything from making tough decisions that turn out to be effective, to creative thinking, to creating an inclusive team environment, to empathy and self-awareness, the ability to lead others, data analysis and interpretation, critical thinking. We measure that quite a bit in individuals here at Clear Vision. Having a clear vision and strategy for your team is another thing that they measured people on. So respondents were asked 15 questions. So those are the 15 skill sets to measure whether they use a whole brain approach in running their company. Based on their responses, they were given an indexed score. Respondents were separately asked to report their 3-year revenue and EBITDA growth, right? Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And the data shows the self-reported growth rates for those that score in the top quartile of the whole brain index versus the rest in the survey. And the numbers bear out that only 8% use a whole brain approach in their management style today. Only 8%. Now, for those who intend to use a whole brain approach in the next 3 years is 82%. So a little more than 8 out of 10 executives intend to switch to more of a whole brain left and right approach, which that's good news for us because That's one of the things we help executives do, right? Develop a holistic approach to helping them develop their whole brain and the whole brains of their people as well. 22% average a plus 22% of revenue growth and a plus 34 average profit growth in their company. And so their intention is that 82% of those people intend to use more of a whole brain approach in the next 3 years. According to the research, only 8% of C-suite members report bringing a whole brain approach to bear today. The survey says it's very much worth the growing pain and the effort. The C-suite leaders we spoke with who report using a whole brain approach to leadership today are already seeing a positive bottom line impact. When comparing the financials of companies that use a balanced whole brain approach today to those who do not, we saw a correlation with stronger financials on average over a 3-year period. 55% are going to reskill their people who work in the C-suite, and 46% are going to just bring in new talent from outside. So a little more than half of the people in the survey are going to try to develop their existing people. But a little more than 4.5 out of 10 are going to look for different people. Having a whole brain approach as opposed to just a left or just a right could be detrimental, right? So you got to get on those skills right away before somebody decides maybe you need to be replaced. I mean, almost half, that's a lot. The C-suite recognizes that changes need to be made within their ranks. 9 in 10 are beginning to take steps today to address skill gaps and are using organic and inorganic ways to tackle the problem. 55% are reskilling members of their C-suite, and nearly half are bringing in talent from outside.
Thank you for listening to Better Than Before with Tony Richards, a business leaders podcast powered by Clear Vision Development Group. For more resources from Tony, visit clearvisiondevelopment.com. Join us next time for another episode of Better Than Before with Tony Richards.